All right, good evening. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order for the September 11th, 2025 Apple Valley City Council meeting. For any members of the audience who have signed up to speak, as we call your name, come forward to the podium to address the council. With that, the first item on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'd ask everybody to rise and join us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next item on our agenda is to approve the agenda. And Tom, I know we distributed a few changes. Do you want to walk us through those?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Yes, we have three different changes to your agenda tonight. The first will be on your consent agenda. This is 4J, change order with Hawkins, Inc. This item is not ready for action, so we are going to remove that item from the agenda. That will come back to you at your next meeting. Item 4L is a amended personnel report that was distributed again yesterday to each of you. And so that's item 4L on the consent agenda. And then item 5B, the pickleball item, we have an updated stormwater maintenance agreement that was distributed to you yesterday as well.
Great, thank you. So with those changes or additions, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Grendel, a second from Councilmember Melander. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion, the agenda is approved. The next item on our agenda is our audience participation portion of the meeting. We have a total of 10 minutes for this item. And I did have Pete Peterson who had signed up, so we'll take those who sign up first. Come on forward. Pat Peterson, I'm sorry.
Peterson.
Thank you, Pat. I don't know why, you wrote it correctly. I read it wrong.
That's
So,
okay.
Pat, go ahead and introduce yourself and
So I'm
go ahead.
Pat Peterson. I moved to Apple Valley. Our family did in 1993. So when Target Great Land wasn't there and we had our abandoned airfield when Menards was down on Cedar, if you remember any of that. We had Kmart. I mean, I go back.
You have some history to share,
Yes.
right? Yes.
And we live on Fireside, which goes into Pennock, right across from where Health Partners is. And those are the Apple Streets, Fireside, Haroldson, Whitney, all those. They've been there since 1966. So I've seen change. Change is okay. Target's great, and the new Menards is great and everything else. But now that Health Partners is up for sale, my concern is the traffic and what's going to happen with us trying to get out onto Pennock. Recently on Cedar Avenue by Cedar Park Elementary, where Whitney comes out there, they restricted that turn, so you can't go left. So all those townhomes that have been there for a long time, plus the newer apartments that have been built there, are all being funneled down Pennock now to get to 153rd just to go grocery shopping at Cub or at Target or at Aldi's. So we've now increased that traffic by blocking off their left turn. Again, it was okay, and now there's talk of the county cutting off a road on 42 when they do the redesign. Is it Kent or something?
Kent.
Yeah. So those people in that part of the Apple Streets, in that part of the area, now are going to be funneled down Fireside, which is the cut-through for most people in that area. So you've got those people who used to just jump out on 42 to get to Walmart, to get to Cub, to get to whatever. They're funneling down Fireside too. And that park's been there forever. It's not going to change. You can't build anything there. It's just a little strip of land. And the Parks Department has already decided to put in a tennis court, pickleball court, basketball court, blah, blah, blah. There's no parking, which means all these years, they've been parking in the Health Partners parking lot and crossing the street without a crosswalk, and so far, so good. But if they don't have that parking lot anymore of Health Partners, to have access to the park, you know, then they're parking on Fireside, which you've now just made very busy because you've blocked off all of the streets. And I need you to consider when you're selling that property, Health Partners and the green space next to it. We're in this, you remember back when we made the famous ring and we put in our red fences and our red light poles and our, you know, made the famous ring around Apple Valley. I believe we're the only residents that are across the street from those businesses around the ring. The rest of them, if you think about across from Aldi's, it's a pond. Farther down, you got Cub and Goodwill and over. Those are all businesses, even down Pennock. You've got businesses on both sides. So I just really need you and asking you to consider what goes there. Health Partners was a Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. So traffic was minimal, you know, and it wasn't all crazy. So I just would like you to consider what you approved to be built there. Because even if you put a light there for people to walk across, or a three-way stop sign or anything like that, that traffic's gonna back up right past Fireside, and we're not ever gonna be able to get out of our street. We wait a long time now to get out of our street.
Especially if you're going left, yep.
Yeah, yeah, so.
So we understand, and I would say, you said something about when we sell the land, and I just want to be clear that that's
Yeah.
not ours to sell,
No.
right? That's owned by Health Partners. However, any change in use has to come through as a land use change, and traffic will
Exactly.
get considered as part of that. Doesn't mean we don't want to monitor what's going on now, but
Because
they can't change the use without going through a land use change process. And we have others in the audience now who are going through one of those now, so they will tell you that's not an easy thing, the easiest thing in the world to do.
No, and I
So-
know it's retail and it's in the red circle and all of that, but I mean, the Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 business is totally different than some other businesses
absolutely.
in that area, especially now that you've cut off 2 streets and directed everybody to that intersection.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Oh, yeah, the Aldi's. You guys are still working on the Aldi's
Yep.
exit.
All right, thank you. All right, anyone else in the audience? If not, we will move on to our consent agenda. These items are considered routine and will be enacted with a single motion unless a council member or a citizen requests to pull an item to discuss separately. Council members, any items you would like to pull from consent? All right, seeing none, any in the audience? All right, we'll take a motion for the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Bergman. Yeah, feel free to take off, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Motion from Councilmember Bergman, second from Councilmember Grendel. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, consent items carry. That moves us to our Cemetery Advisory Committee appointment, and Christina's going to walk us through this one.
Hello, Mayor and Council. We currently have a vacancy on our Cemetery Advisory Committee due to the resignation of a former commissioner. We went out and sought applications from community members earlier this summer, and we received 2 applications, which were shared with the council earlier prior to the meeting. Typically, the process for filling the vacancy is we would have a council member nominate those that we want to consider for appointment. And then I have ballots to distribute, and the council members would then select their choice on those ballots. Because there are 2 applicants and probably 2 nominees, that means that you would select one of the 2. And then I will go do some extensive counting and come back. And we do have some staff that will provide presentations while the city attorney and I are reviewing the ballots and coming back with the result of that. And then before you would be a resolution to appoint someone to the Cemetery Advisory Committee.
Thank you. So we have 2 applicants. We'd be looking for somebody to make a motion to approve that slate of applicants, or add others, I guess, if you wanted to.
Correct.
I'll make that motion for the 2 candidates that nominate them.
Second. Go ahead.
We have a motion from Councilmember Grendel, a second from Councilmember Hebert. With that, I think we can commence the voting. Normally, we have a little discussion about how we're gonna vote, but I think with two, it's
Pretty simple.
pretty easy this evening.
Thank you.
And should I just remind people to initial their ballot?
Yes, I have a nice big spot at the bottom for you.
Yep. And lines through it.
Thank you. Tom, you have some updates to fill some time while they do their counting.
Mayor, yes, we do. We'll start by calling up our police chief, Nick Francis, to tell us about an upcoming public event.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I know we do have a slide. I don't think, we probably don't have it up, but it's posted online. We've sent it out, and we'll have it, we will have it, we can have it again the next meeting because that will be prior to our open house. So you were all out at our police operations building on night to night. You got to see it. And we are inviting the public out on Tuesday, September 30th from 5 to 7 p.m. Parking is a little difficult at that location because it's not designed for a big open house, similar to maybe some of the fire departments where people have to park somewhere nearby. We've worked it out with Eastview High School. We've planned it on a night where they don't have a ton of activities. So folks can park right at the stadium across the street at Eastview, walk across the road. There's a crosswalk where there. We'll have folks out there to help with crossing and come on over to the police operations building. It's right across the street from Eastview's stadium. We're gonna have some food. We're gonna have some fun. There's self-guided tours. There's a scavenger hunt, but our folks, we have about 10 to 15 of our officers working that will be stationed throughout the building. So a really good opportunity to view the site and get to know some of our staff. So we're looking forward to having everybody out on the 30th from 5 to 7 p.m. And we'll come up again before the next council meeting to remind folks. So
30th, 5 to 7, park across the street.
Yep,
Got it.
easy as that.
Thank you, Chief.
Yep, thank you.
Christina, looks like you exhausted your fingers and toes and accounts.
Is there a second ballot?
Mayor
Be a
and
weird tie
council,
with 5 people, wouldn't it?
Mayor and council, after counting the ballots, John Cabot received the majority of the council votes for appointment.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We need a resolution to appoint
So
Mr.
moved.
Cabot.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Grandal, second from Councilmember Hebert. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And John's with us this evening, so welcome, and thank you for volunteering.
Thank you.
All right. That moves us on to 5B, which is Picklehall, and I think Tim's coming up to take this one.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. I'm happy to present to you a new proposed project, the PICKLEHALL. This is actually officially titled Village of Founders Circle, 3rd Edition, which is the plat name. The property is at 7169 153rd Street. That's a new address that was recently assigned, so this was just a combined address for the two parcels. So we have 3 land use requests before you tonight. We have an amendment to a plan development number 739, and we're amending specifically Appendix F, Article 31, to allow indoor commercial recreational facilities as a permitted use in the new PUD, or in the existing PD. We also have a new final plat before you tonight. This is a combination of 2 existing parcels into one singular 3.77 acre parcel, and that will be officially titled Village of Founders Circle, 3rd Edition. We also have a site and building plan permit authorization, and this is to allow for the construction of a just over 66,000 square foot indoor pickleball facility with 18 dedicated courts, plus a Class 1 restaurant with ground and elevated patio spaces, which we'll get into very quickly. I hope most of you are aware of the site that's located at the what we refer to as the old Central Village West site, or New Central Village. Lots 1 and 2, Block 3, 7169 153rd, just south of Apple Valley Ford, Lincoln, east of the U.S. Post Office, west of Grand Stay, and just north of the Goodwill, Riser, and Zavago sites. Also want to point out, we're going to talk a little bit about the Central Village parking lot, which has some impact to this site, which we'll get into very quickly here. The land use is currently guided as mixed-use zoning, again, PD 739, subzone 4. The proposed final plat is just, as I stated, is a recombination of the old Lot 1, Lot 2 under the old Founders Circle edition, so this will be a new plat of 3rd edition. We also had before you previously a public hearing for a proposed easement vacation. The easement is simply between the lots that used to exist between there, so we are simply vacating those and rededicating them under the new plat. In your packet, you would have been notified that this original site plan that is up before you tonight, this was the one that was presented to the Planning Commission on July 2nd, 2005. Part of that plat, or that, site plan, included an open stormwater pond, 105 on-site parking spaces, with a notation that there was 128 spaces nearby in the Central Village parking lot, plus the 38 parking spaces. When this was presented to the Planning Commission, there was an expectation that that 105 spaces on site with the adjacent parking spaces would be sufficient to accommodate for the site. So the Planning Commission did recommend at that meeting for approval. However, later on, we verified the seating capacity for the site, and we later determined that approximately just under 200 spaces, 196 spaces to be honest, or to be specific, were needed. So we asked the applicant, could you update the plan? Originally, they had planned to provide for an underground storm chamber instead of a pond, and this is what they provided for us. Hopefully I can get that, it's not working. So there is an underground system on that north end on it would be your right-hand side of the screen. So the pond was removed, an underground storm chamber was provided for. There's now 38 additional parking spaces, so we now have 143 parking spaces, which we feel will be suitable for that site, for on-site. We also want to account for the 128 spaces in the Central Village parking lot. Now, the owner is still interested in leasing the 50 spaces that Apple Ford currently leases from the city on an annual basis. There's also the 38 on-street parking, which are open to the public as well. Results in 198 spaces dedicated to pickleball, so they just meet the 196 that they need. Also, a potential for over 309 spaces when you count the 143, the 128, the 38, so 309 spaces available. So comfortably, staff feels that they have met their parking requirements for the site. Our storm sewer plan, again, they're connecting back over to the storm chamber systems, and this will empty out into our regular municipal systems. This has been evaluated by our city engineers, and we feel it does meet their requirements or standards. A very hardy landscape plan. Again, this was revised, and this was added to your stormwater maintenance agreement. It reflects now the new site plan that was prepared by the owners. We're very happy and comfortable with this. And they also are replacing a lot of boulevard trees, which were in dire need of replacement. Architecturally, this is a very nice looking building. I hope you had a good chance to look at these in your packet. We have a lot of good materials represented here, different materials, attenuations, a lot of glass, which is very nice to see. Also see some nice renderings here from, this would be a view from Gallivant Place. Again, just a nice welcoming addition with the covered walkway. You're starting to see the outer buildings here from Garrett Avenue. I love this photo with the upper and the lower deck, patio, seating areas. So this is going to be a really, really nice addition to this community. Also, just the, again, not a plain utilitarian looking building. It's going to have some nice features to it. So they did a great design here, and they should be applauded. Again, the interior, this is a little busy, but it just shows the interior layout of the 18 courts with the seating and the office and the game areas on the east side of the building. So before you tonight, we're asking you to adopt a resolution vacating officially the drainage and utility easements, adopt the ordinance amending Article 31 to that plan development 739, adopt a resolution approving the final plat and development agreement, approve your stormwater maintenance agreement for Lot 1, Block 1, of that Village Third, and also adopt a resolution approving the site plan review and building permit for the new pickle hall. I can stand for more questions. Also, the Modewell family is here tonight. They're more than happy to answer any other questions if you have any details or specifics you'd like to ask them. Otherwise, I will stand for any questions.
That was a lot. Thank you, Tim. Do
Thank you.
council members have any questions?
Beautiful. It's beautiful.
Mine is just not so much questions around parking. We're comfortable with that number. We have other areas that overparked. We have some that are probably underparked, and I think the biggest danger to this business being successful is not having enough parking in the vicinity when they get busy, because we are typical lazy suburban folks who won't walk very far, and so if your parking's too far away, so hopefully the owner is comfortable with parking. It sounds like staff is comfortable. We have enough.
We are.
Perfect. With that, then, if we don't have any other questions, I'll go ahead and take the motion or the actions, and then if the owners want to come up and say something when we're done, happy to invite you guys up and say a few words. Give you every chance you can to promote the new thing coming as we get to it. So let's start with the action items. The first one is to adopt a resolution vacating the drainage and the utility easements.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Melander, second from Councilmember Grendel. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? That item carries. The next is to adopt an ordinance amending Article 31, Plan Development Number 739, along with a recommendation to waive the second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Bergman, second from Councilmember Grendel. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? That item carries. Our next is to adopt a resolution approving the final plat and development agreement for Village of Founders Circle, 3rd edition.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Grendel, second from Councilmember Hebert. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Item 3 carries. We'll move on to item 4, which is to approve the stormwater maintenance agreement for Lot 1, Block 1, Village of Founders Circle, 3rd edition.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Grendel, second from Councilmember Melander. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? And that item carries, and our final item is to adopt a resolution approving the site plan review and building permit authorization for Pickle Hall.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Bergman, second from Councilmember Grendel. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All items carry. Thank you, Tim and staff.
You're welcome.
For applicants, do you want to come forward, introduce yourself, and just say a little bit about what you have planned? Optional, but I want to give you that opportunity.
Hello, everybody. My name is Randy Motilal. I'm one of the owners of this operation. I just want to thank you all so much for giving us the opportunity to bring this to the city. Growing up in the area and coming through here, for the last 30 years, I think this will be a great addition to this area, and it's going to drive in a lot of new business for everybody as well. And, we're bringing one of the biggest growing sports in the world into an indoor complex, so this will bring down some noise for some of the community as well.
Nice.
So you've been following.
Oh, yeah, I've been following it. I've been hearing the complaints, so that's why I was like, this is a great opportunity for us in the city. So I just want to thank you guys again for the opportunity to work with us, and we're willing to do whatever we have to work with you going forward and keep a strong relationship. So.
Welcome. Happy to have you. The building looks fantastic, and it's fun to watch these what I would call indoor recreation things kind of come up, and some in vacant buildings, some in some new sites. But it's good for an active community, and it's good to pull people in, which then supports all the restaurants and gas stations and other businesses that are in the vicinity too. So it's a win for everybody.
Perfect.
Councilmember Melander, I think that was you.
Yeah, but along the same lines, this is exactly the sort of thing that we were hoping for this site, and we're just thrilled that you've come to us with this.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
Ruth.
When will it open?
Thank you.
That's up to you guys. I'll start tomorrow if you let me. So.
Well, we got
We gotta
it
get a
well on
building for you. Some
Yeah.
service.
well on our way this evening, didn't we? So, yep. Thank you. Welcome, and we'll look forward to seeing more of you and hearing more about the project as you move along.
Thank you all.
Thank
Bet,
you.
take care.
Thanks, folks.
All right, our next item is 5C, and that's our proposed 2026 city budget and property tax levy, and Ron's going to run us through this one. I will thank you guys. Have a good night. I will say that many of us have seen, all of us have actually seen this kind of at length, and Ron, I think you condensed slides a little bit to try to.
I did.
It's tough, it's a lot of information, and yet we're trying to make it digestible at the same time.
We do, as you mentioned, the city council may have seen a number of these slides before. There were a few suggested additions from various council members, so we did have a few additions to the presentation, but as you mentioned, some of this is a repeat for the city council, but valuable, hopefully valuable, or at least interesting information for the public. This evening, the schedule for today is we'll go over some of the significant impacts, some of the changes presented in this year's budget, some of the changes since there was one change since the August 28th informal meeting, and it was the updated resolution that was distributed in the packet that corrected a typographical error on my part. Nothing changed in the total numbers or impact to the levy or taxes, for that matter. We'll cover some of the valuation changes and tax impacts. We'll look at some significant budget items of note. And the formal action this evening will be to adopt the preliminary budget and levy for 2026. And this will set the maximum property tax levy for 2026. This can be lowered, but it cannot be increased once it's adopted and certified to the county auditor by the end of September. The other action at the end would be a motion to set the date to discuss the budget and levy where the public is invited to attend. We have recommending November 25th, which is a regularly scheduled city council meeting, and this follows input from the city council directing us towards that date. And those, we will certify that to the county, and that will be the date that they include on the parcel-specific notice of taxes payable for the coming year that will be distributed to all the property owners. The timeline, the staff budget preparation occurs in the early of the year during May through early August, following what input we received from the city council at the goal setting session back in March and April. We distributed the budget draft that we discussed at the budget workshop on August 28th. We're scheduled, the calendar schedules adopting the preliminary budget and levy this evening, which is why we're here. And then we, as I mentioned, must notify the county auditor by September 30th of the council meeting date, where we would discuss the budget and levy and invite the public to speak, to attend. As part of once the county receives the dates and they prepare the notices, they're under statute must mail them between November 11th and the 24th. Talked with the county auditor. Their plans are to start mailing on the very first available date, November 11th. Of course, countywide, there's a lot of parcels, but the council would then hold the budget discussion. Formerly, we called that the Truth and Taxation meeting on November 25th. That is a Tuesday before Thanksgiving. And then adopt a final budget and tax levy at that meeting. If we don't complete it that evening, a backup date would be Thursday, the next regularly scheduled city council meeting, Thursday, December 11th. One point is final certification is due to the county auditor and the state by December 29th. Go through some of the property valuations that we're experiencing, which affects our tax base, of course. The overall property values are increasing 3.19%. The slide shows kind of a breakdown of the different property classes. Residential, overall, residential property values are going up 3.7%. Commercial industrial, approximately 5.1%. And then some of the various other classes. I do want to point out that the apartment property class is decreasing for the coming year, going down by 2.56%. But overall, increase in the property values of 3.19% to $8,326,000,000. So we look at tax capacity. In a few minutes, we'll look at calculating the tax capacity, but the tax capacity is based on the value of the property times the classification rates at the state. And new construction this year is providing an additional tax capacity, which we'll call tax base, of 0.46%, which is down a little bit from the prior year. New construction, one way to look at new construction values adds to the tax base, which benefits and lowers the potential tax rate. And then we also experience some overall appreciation in market value or in tax capacity, appreciation of approximately 2.9%. And we can see that residential is up 3.5%. Commercial industrial, and this is in tax capacity, up 3.96%. Utilities, 1.7%. And again, the property class for apartments is declining for the coming year, 2.67%. So overall, we are seeing growth in the tax capacity, some in appreciation and some in overall new construction, increasing 3.37% for the coming year. Versus last year, even though we had a higher valuation increase, we had a reduction in the net tax capacity, or a smaller increase in the net tax capacity, and that was the implementation of the changes in the market value homestead exclusion in the prior year. Median value home is increasing 3.7% to $371,350, recovering some of the slight decline that we experienced last year, but we can see that from this chart anyway, the growth has moderated a bit for the last 2 years, which I would suggest is a good thing. Commercial valuation, the value is increasing $38.3 million, which we just saw. New construction is $8,052,000. Appreciation on existing commercial industrial, $30,217,000. This is compared to $73 million of new construction for commercial last year. We can just look at for the most part, most of the new construction value added for commercial properties is these three properties right here, the finishing of the Health Partners Clinic, the Chafin Vet Clinic right north of that, and then the addition of the second Chase Bank in town. So most of our new construction is resulting from the Orchard Place development down in this east part of town. Which brings us to the budget. The total budget for the city is made up of a number of different funds. We have the general fund, which would be considered kind of our general government operations, police, fire, finance, everything in this building. We also have enterprise funds, which makes up approximately 39% of the overall budget. This includes our water and sewer utility, the operation of the liquor store, the ice arena. We have a significant piece of our budget is the road fund, $18.3 million, approximately 14% of our total budget. And then we have a number of other funds from cable TV and the special revenue funds that make up the other 8% of the total budget. Total budget, all funds that we budget is $130,071,375. On the revenue side, we have revenues slightly less than that of $115 million. And the difference between the two is the investment in capital outlay. We are experiencing a period of high investment of capital outlay. That might be the theme for last year and this year is capital outlay, capital investment. Taxes of the total revenue for the total budget is $38,008,666, or approximately 1/3 of the total overall budget. User and franchise fees, so this would include everything from building permits to liquor store sales, water and sewer sales. We have intergovernmental revenue of $16.9 million. Most of that is related to the road and infrastructure replacement program and the state aid streets being replaced. We have licenses and permits, other revenues. I do want to point out this year we have transfers, the slice for transfers, admin fees, and use of reserves. The use of reserves is the Minnesota Public Safety Aid that we received back in 2023, and we're recognizing that the expense over time, and this is actually a use of reserves fund balance, not necessarily a true revenue, but it is a budgetary revenue for our total budget. General fund, I mentioned that's a significant part of the budget. The general fund proposed revenues, $50,572,970, of which taxes make up approximately 3/4 of that. Again, franchise fees, license and permits, all of that, and then again, transfers and use of reserves for the Minnesota Public Safety Aid makes up 6.9%. We do have, on the expenditure side, we have a balanced budget with the use of those reserves of $50,752,970. The biggest department, of course, the overall department is the police department, $16.3 million. Park and Rec, $7.6 million. Public Works, $8.5 million. Natural Resources, $427,000. Fire, $3.9 million. General Government, $2.5 million. And the various other smaller departments make up the total of the general fund expenses of $50.7 million. Some of the maybe more significant items that are driving or causing the increase in the total general fund expenditures is the COLA and step increases. Again, the budget increase for the coming year is just over $4 million. The COLA and step increases for general fund employees, approximately $983,000. We have increased health insurance, workers' comp rates, Medicare, FICA, and public employee retirement, $184,000. We have this year new paid family medical leave. The impact for the general fund is approximately $105,000. Within the general fund, we have some levy, property tax levy supported positions, which include a mechanic, fire inspector, 1/2 of FT, full-time equivalent for a forester. And then we also have a maintenance trainee program that Public Works and Park Maintenance are starting. We have one non-levy supported, and again, this is the addition of a police lieutenant, cost of wages and benefits and equipment, $215,000. And again, I noted this as non-levy. This is the use of the public safety aid for that position. We have an increase in part-time wages, $257,000 for the various part-time positions. And then increase in the Apple Valley Fire Relief, which is a pass-through from the state of $85,000. The Redwood Pool is should be back in operation in 2026. It was closed in 2025 for reconstruction, which will increase the expenditures by $176,000. And again, this will be offset by revenues. We have an overall increase in utilities. Number of other items, comprehensive plan. Community development will be starting it's a 2-year process to update the comprehensive plan for the up through 2050. And that's approximately $75,000 for the coming year, as well as the following year will be approximately $75,000 as well. Natural resource development of a citywide natural resource plan and an increase in the tree management program, approximately $95,000. We did experiencing increased Dakota communication 911 fees, approximately $105,000. Elections, we have a general election the coming year that we will be required to participate in 2026. $155,000. Snow and ice chemicals, $60,000. Participation in Lakeville is building a training center called the First Training Center. Police will be participating in that, approximately $33,000 in the first year. We got an increase in engineering costs for managing the right-of-way and permits for that. And then again, $60,000. Again, that'll be supported by revenue. And then capital outlay in the general fund, approximately $518,000. Mentioned the general fund, approximately 75% of the general fund budget is funded by property taxes. This chart here lays out the different property tax levy components or uses of the property taxes. General fund for 2026, $32,825,000, an increase of $2,593,200, approximately 8.58% increase. We have some facilities funds for setting aside money for repairs to various facilities, $325,000 for the coming year, slight decline for 2026. continuing the maintenance, or the support of the ice arena, $121,000 out of the property tax levy. And then we do have property tax delinquency allowance of approximately $100,000. I've added a subtotal here for general operations, so it's basically everything in the levy, not that isn't debt service or the infrastructure, street and infrastructure maintenance program. Street and infrastructure maintenance program is going, the levy for the coming year is going down $70,000 to $4,600,000. The debt service on the facilities capital improvement bonds will be increasing $350,000. We have some bonds that we issued previous 2 years. We did issue a small issue in 2025 with debt service starting in 26. We did have a bigger issue for the park referendum bonds from the Park Referendum Authority adopted a couple of years ago. That debt service will be increasing $2,292,000 for the coming year. Total increase in the property tax levy of $5,142,000 for the coming year. 13% increase in the overall property tax levy for the coming year. If we look at what components, what portions of the levy by the various components, we went through each of these elements just a moment ago, but the share of the increase, so the increase in total is 13.01%, of which 6.5% of that is for the general operations, slight decline in the street maintenance. The facilities capital improvement bonds up 0.89%, and the park referendum bonds up 5.8%. So the two related to the debt issuance is over 6.6%, just over 1/2 of the total levy increase for the coming year. I mentioned this is a capital-intensive budget and levy. Approximately 25.3% of the overall levy is going to support the annual street maintenance levy and the program, street and infrastructure maintenance program, as well as the debt service for the facilities capital improvement bonds and the park bonds. So we will continue our investment in our facilities and capital outlay. Overall, the property tax levy is going up $5,142,000. Just covered that, 13.01%. Again, the increased voter-approved debt service, that's the park referendum bonds, $2,293,000. And then the increased debt service on the facilities capital improvement bonds, $351,000. So of the total levy increase, again, 6.7% is related to the increased debt service. All the other items that we saw for the general fund are also included in the increase in the levy drivers of what's increasing the levy. So we won't go through all of those again. We do each year when we set our property tax levy, we look at comparisons with other communities. This is a survey that updated a little over a week ago. We can see that Apple Valley is the third bar on the pie chart on the right. So we at 13, just over 13%, we're towards the high end. The new debt that we issued, the 6.7% of that is for the increased debt service. And again, there's a story behind every one of these community levies, but we don't have the complete story of all those. But this just kind of gives you an idea of how our levy for the coming year is stacking up against these other communities. Some are just Dakota County cities, and some are the similar sized cities in the metro area we usually compare to. One of the increased recommended increase information in the levy is how is our levy increase over a longer period. This is over the past 10 years with just some of the larger metropolitan area cities. Our average increase over the past 10 years is 5.6%, right in the middle of the pack with that. That does include our increase actually, I have to rewind a bit. These are actual 2025 levy amounts as certified to the State Department of Revenue. So through 2025, 10 years of that. we are averaging 5.6%. We did have a significant bond issue that became payable beginning in 2025, so that is included in there already. If we look at just some of the larger Dakota County cities, again, our 5.6% over the past 10 years up through 2025 compares somewhat favorably to the other larger Dakota County cities. And again, this is through data filed with the Department of Revenue for years up through 2025. Another way to look at the levy, just the use of the levy by the different various components. Again, the bottom bar, the general operations and levy, we can see that did increase following the pandemic at experiencing inflation, much like everyone else. And then the other various bars for the debt service on the capital improvement bonds, the street and infrastructure levy, and the park bond debt service. So next, for the coming year, a 13% increase. And again, 6.5% of that related to general operations. Look at the tax impacts to the median value home. Again, the median value home is $371,000. To get to a tax capacity, we apply the homestead parcel will receive a market value homestead exclusion, reduction in the value for taxable purposes. So this home would have a taxable market value of $358,222. That is applied to the state classification rate for residential properties, which is 1% up through the first 500,000. Gives us a tax capacity of $3,582, which is a variable used in the calculation. And then our estimated property tax rate for is 45.98% for the coming year. Gives us gross taxes paid of $1,647. We do have an old park referendum debt service that we are paying back, which is based on the market value only, and that would add $52. So property taxes on the median value home for the coming year, $1,699. We look at that as a comparison to the prior year. Again, the market value of this home increased 3.7%. The taxes in 2026, $1,699, compared to last year, $1,488, increase of $211. Total increase in the taxes of 14.18%. We look at those same levy components as it flows through to the tax bill, general operations. Again, the total for 2026, $1,698.86. Increase of $210 for the coming year. Of that, the general operation makes up 6.6% of the tax increase in the tax bill. Street maintenance program down slightly. Facilities capital improvement bonds up just over 1%, and the park referendum bonds up 6.6%. So in total, 7.65% for increase in the debt service levy of the total increase in the tax bill of $14.18%, all right? Another thing we like to do each year when we look at our taxes is compare our taxes to other communities, and these are some of the larger metropolitan area cities. Explain how this graph works. The percentage within each bar is the preliminary tax rate for each of the individual cities. So the tax rate in Edina, for example, will be 32.6%. And it's that used in their calculation of the median value home. The median value home in Edina is $735,000, would result in a tax bill in Edina for the median value home of $2,589. We do that same calculation for each of the cities based on each city's preliminary tax rate and each city's median value home, which gives us the tax bills. So we are in the neighborhood of Bloomington and Burnsville we're at $1,699, Bloomington $1,692, and Burnsville $1,685 for the coming year. based again on preliminary data that we received over the last few weeks. And again, our tax levy also includes the support of this annual street and infrastructure replacement program, which provides us the ability for not allowing or not having special assessments to the various property owners. Another way to look at the tax bill is what are the taxes going to support in our general government operations. We can see that we mentioned the street and infrastructure replacement program. So of the impact of the taxes in the coming year, the street maintenance program is approximately $195. Debt service for the facilities capital improvement bonds, $85. Debt service on the park bonds, $200. Government buildings, the biggest piece, again, as part of the biggest piece of the budget, is the police area. So of the tax bill, $467 will go to support the police department. One thing I want to point out is various departments have revenues. So it's their total expenses. If they have revenues that exceed their expenses, for example, building permits, they would not have any levy support going towards building inspections. One of the requested items is kind of how is our taxes stack up over the past few years. This one goes back to 2011. Again, this is final certified levy, certified tax rates, and certified median value homes as certified to Dakota County. So the median value home in Apple Valley for all jurisdictions, and again, this is up through 2025. So it's, we don't have the preliminary 2026 data for these other communities, has went up last year, total tax bill from $4,070 in 2024 to $4,089 in 2025. So a slight increase, and that increase last year was moderated by the changes in the market value homestead exclusion program for taxes payable 2025. And you can see that over the past years, each of the change in the tax bill for each of the jurisdictions. Enterprise funds, it makes up a significant piece of our budget, which includes the liquor fund, the water sewer fund, the ice arena, storm drainage fund, streetlight utilities, cemetery fund. So all told, the revenues for the coming year is $39,785,000. The expenses is approximately $33,463,000, which doesn't include the capital outlay. So the capital outlay for the coming year is $17,069,000. Capital outlay is not necessarily an expense, so it'll be capitalized, depreciated into the future. But you can see a significant capital outlay in the storm drainage utility fund. So all told, with capital outlay, total expenditures $50,532,505 for the coming year related to the enterprise funds. To support the water and sewer and stormwater and streetlight utility funds, the utility rates as included in the budget are up 5% for each of those utilities with a 10% increase in the stormwater rate. So for a typical user of 25,000 gallons per quarter of water, which would have typically a $15,000 or 15,000 gallon sanitary sewer consumption, total increase of 5.9%, $12.58 per quarter, or approximately $4.19 a month for the increase in the utilities for the coming year. One of the requested items is, hey, how do our utility rates stack up against other communities? So these are some of the same similar sized metropolitan area cities, and these are 2025 rates. So these are the actual rates in place for a utility in each of these communities. You can see that this is for water and sewer. So we're in the lower quadrant of the typical water user of 25,000 for gallons of water, 15,000 gallons for sanitary. If we look at higher users, we are on the low end, and that's we have a tiered rate structure, and as we do the comparison, our highest tier is lower than some of the other communities. There are reasons for that. Woodbury, for example, has a higher rate and related to PFAS when we look at in a moment. So for water and sewer, for a high user, $341 per quarter, which is towards the low end of these communities. If we look at the stormwater side of the bill, which is a flat charge for each of these communities, there's no way to measure it. So Edina has the highest quarterly stormwater bill at $55 per quarter. Apple Valley is next at $36 per quarter, along with the various communities. Just wanted to point out some of these communities. Maple Grove, for example, is just starting. I think 2 years ago was the first time they established a stormwater utility, so it takes a while for these activities to get established. One of the requests was, how does our 2026 preliminary utility rate increase, how does that stack up against the various communities? And this is a list of the responses that I received for a query of these cities. Ranges anywhere from 3% across the board in Eden Prairie to various components. Rosemont, for example, 9% in water, 5% in water, 9% in sewer, 5% in stormwater. Maple Grove, 5% across the board. Do want to point out that 4 of these cities are in the process of updating their utility rate studies, and they don't have the coming rates for 2026 at this time. Preliminary budget, in summary, residential property taxes on the median value home is expected to rise 14.18%, approximately $210.98 per year, $17.58 per month for the median value home, and again at $1,699 for the year. And the city portion of the taxes only, of course. Continues the city council goal of not specially assessed for the infrastructure maintenance program, which we're maintaining the support of that program for the 2026 levy of $4,600,000. I want to point out that the state-imposed paid family medical leave impacts for 2026 will be the first year. The budget assumes of the rate of 0.88% of the wages paid, 50% share with employees. And then again, as we saw earlier, impact on the levy was approximately $105,000 for the year. There's a number of property tax refund programs, circuit breakers, one of which is the Homestead Credit Program for 2024 returns. They haven't released the 25 amounts yet, but their information and those Homestead Credit refunds are filed with the Minnesota Form M1PR. There is a renter's property tax refund that is now going to be collected or requested, I guess, refund on the state income tax form. That is a change in the way that used to be done. It used to be done on the M1PR. So now it'll be right on the individual's income tax return. There is a special tax, property tax refund if your total taxes have increased more than 12%, and that increase was more than $100. There is a refund, and again, that'll be available on the Form M1PR. There is, in addition to all of these, there's a senior citizens property tax deferment. If your property taxes paid exceed 3% of net income, the amount that exceeds that is deferred into the future. The state would pay whatever that difference would be. Doesn't necessarily go away. It's an unpaid tax, and it becomes a lien on the property. And then when the property changes hands, it would be taken out of proceeds at the time of sale. There is a disabled veteran property tax exclusion. So when we looked at the tax calculation, there's a market value exclusion for homestead properties. This is an additional one for disabled veterans. A couple different exclusion levels, $150,000 and $300,000, depending on your disability status. And again, this program is administered by the counties, and they're, will help you get enrolled in that. The timeline remaining is, one of the actions this evening is setting a budget meeting date for November 25th, 2025. And then we will file and certify the levy, and the county will begin sending parcel-specific notices on November 11th through the 24th. Council would hold the Truth and Taxation meeting, budget discussion on November 25th. We would then adopt, hopefully that evening. If not that evening, the backup date would be the next city council meeting on December 11th. And we would need to certify that to the county auditor by the end of December. So the action this evening is the adopt a resolution adopting the 2026 proposed budget and property tax levy. Again, this sets the maximum levy for the coming year, can be reduced, cannot be increased, along with hopefully a motion to set November 25th as the Truth and Taxation meeting at 7 p.m.
Thank you, Ron. Why don't you take a breath and a drink? And, it's a lot of nice presentation. As I mentioned earlier, we went through this a few weeks ago, kind of the chance to show this to the public and move it forward. This is the maximum amount. We still have 2 months-ish to work on areas we might want to reduce, but I want to see who has questions or comments for Ron this evening. You mentioned much more less budget question, more timing question. The timing of the notice is November 11th to the 24th. You mentioned earlier you talked to the county and they think those will be out early, because that comes really close to our budget meeting, and we certainly want people to be able to see their specific tax notice, right, before they get here.
Right, and that is true. So hopefully the county does get them out earlier, towards the 11th, and that's when they said they were going to have their mailing service start mailing. And I forget how many hundreds of thousands notices they send, so there's quite a few.
If all else fails, those would be available online where people could access them before that meeting on the 25th, correct?
Good point. So the day they start mailing, they are available on the on the county website. The whole notice is available there. And again, the meeting would be on the 25th. The one, I guess, disadvantage of being in November, our city newsletter comes out at the beginning of December. So we would, typically we use that to also invite the public, but, so that meeting will, or that newsletter that comes out in December will be probably more of a, just kind of a budget update that we're looking at.
I would just point out, this is what that looks like. Yeah. If you choose to print it, all of this is available on the website, right? So where can people go to find, if they want to dig into detail or they have questions, where can we send them?
The easiest way to go would be to go onto the City of Apple Valley's website, and there's a search button. If you search on budget, it'll take you right to that section. So that's the easiest way.
But if you do that, the budget memo's out there too, the one that Tom and staff prepare?
Yep, everything's out there, along with 10 years of budgets, and
yeah, that's a great resource, and if you don't want to get stuck in the spreadsheets and the details, it gives you a pretty nice overview of all the things that you talked about in a little more detail. So, any questions for Ron? If not, two action items. One is to adopt the resolution adopting the 2026 proposed budget and property tax levy. Do we have a motion to do so?
So moved.
Motion from Councilmember Lander. Do we have a second? From Councilmember Bergman. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That item carries. The second is a motion to set the November 25th, 2025 as the Truth and Taxation meeting at 7 p.m.
So moved.
From Councilmember Ebert, second from Councilmember Bergman. All those in favor, you need a name tag. I'm struggling over here tonight. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those both carry. Ron, staff, everyone, thank you for the time and effort into this. We got a little more work to do, but thanks for the work getting us this far. That brings us to staff and council communications. And Tom, I know we had a couple others to talk about.
Mr. Mayor, we do have two. I'd like to call up our Park and Rec Director, Eric Carlson, to talk one more time, a reminder about the Food Truck Festival coming up.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, members of the community, so this Saturday, from noon to 7 p.m., we will have Food Truck Festival at Quarry Point Park. There'll be lots of food trucks, lots of music, lots of fun activities. So if you're hungry, if you want to listen to some music, if you want to just get out, because I think the weather's supposed to be halfway decent on Saturday, come to Quarry Park between noon and 7 and join us in the fun of the Fall Food Truck Festival. Thank you.
Weather does look good on Saturday, I just checked.
does, yeah,
So,
yeah.
Thank you.
Good.
Mr. Mayor, one more. We'd like to have Charles Groh come up, our Assistant Administrator, and give us a preview of another event that is an annual event that people really look forward to, our Fall Cleanup Day.
Good evening, Mayor and members. We've got Cleanup Day coming up on Saturday, the 20th. It's between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m., and it's at the Aquatic Center, or Splash Valley, it's now called, parking lot. There's a few things that are different this year, and so I want to try to highlight those. Just in general, the concept of Cleanup Day is an opportunity for residents to dispose of non-hazardous waste, things like appliances, tires, scrap metal, furniture, and remodeling debris. There are unit-based prices for things like appliances. Most of the rest of it is weight-based. There are prices on our website that can give you a pretty good estimation of what something might cost. So there are fees. Our goal is to break even, not to make money on this event. Big change from last year, there is no shredding this year. We're going to do that as a separate event. I'll get to that more in a minute, but there's a lot of construction, and we're going to also get more to that in a second on this site and around it, and there's just no way that we can really accommodate the shredding truck and the hundreds of people who come with shredding and our cleanup the activities without potentially creating safety issues. We just don't want that. So in order to keep it safe, with the constraints on the site we have, we're just doing the cleanup day, traditional modeling debris, that kind of thing. At this event, we'll do a separate shredding event in a couple weeks, and I'll get to that. Let's see if I can you, there we go. We joke about this a little bit, and it's kind of backfired on me. The event opens at 8, and our biggest line of the day is always at 8. People come early, and unfortunately, people maybe didn't realize. No, we're serious about that. It's not helpful, and we've had more people like last year. We've had people showing up 7:15, and what's happening is you get 50 cars that are parked on the driveway, and we're trying to move heavy equipment and these large containers to the site and set up, and it's just detrimental to getting the event off, and then you have to wait longer. It took us 45 minutes last year to clear out that initial wave. Nobody else waited for more than a few minutes the rest of the day. So it's everybody's benefit. If don't come early, please don't. Do us a favor, come after we open. We'll be able to move you through faster, and it'll just create a safer, more
We had a lot of really nice coffee shops in town. Maybe go leave home at 7:15, grab a cup of coffee, enjoy their Saturday morning, and roll up about 8:15.
Absolutely.
That'd be, yep.
Yep, that would be much preferred. I think everybody benefits that way. I think somehow I skipped, there's my, we lost, okay, thank you. This is a map of the detour, because there is road construction.
Right.
So please note that Johnny Cake, north of 142nd and south of 140th, is torn up right now. You can't go that way. So if you traditionally would go to this site from 42 from the south, you'll be fine. You can come up Johnny Cake. If you traditionally come from the east and you're coming across on 142nd, you're fine. You can take that route. But if you go on 140th, and a lot of people do, you're going to need to go a little further east down to Pilot Knob, go down to 142nd, and then come across. So there is a detour. It's pretty simple. I don't expect it to create problems, but people should be aware there will be signage where those little detour signs are to direct people as well. And then finally, just to paper shredding. Hell, I'm having a heck of a time tonight.
I'm not responsible.
Paper shredding. So we are going to have a special event for paper shredding on Saturday, October 11th. It will be in the site that's in the upper parking lot that's right around Johnny Cake. We think there's a possibility it will be open by then, but even if it's not, we'll be able to handle it there. The shredder is there from 9 a.m. to 12 noon, so it's a little shorter period, but I think that generally work fine. The cost is free, but we do limit to 4 small paper bags, regular grocery bags or small boxes. And if you have a commercial account, you have a bunch of business forms, call us directly. We can help get that shredded, but this isn't the right venue for collecting those. So a lot of information, but thank you for letting us make people aware of that.
Charles, one question on the fees to drop stuff off. How do you take payment? Cash, check, credit card? How would you like people to
Yeah.
show up prepared?
Cash and check are great. We do have a credit card reader that we are using now, and so we can do it that way as well.
Perfect. Wonderful. Thanks for the work in putting this together and giving people a place to get rid of their stuff.
Thank you.
Thanks. Tom, anything else?
That's it.
Well, just one quick thing from me, and I always hate to end us on a sad note, but I will. Last weekend, we lost 2 good residents and honestly friends of mine here in Apple Valley, Pete and Trish Olson, in a very tragic car accident down by Randolph. Many of us knew their daughter, Lexi, who worked out at Valleywood, was kind of the face we all saw. I know it served many of our fire banquets out there over the years as well. Yeah, when I used to work with Trish and Pete both, they both worked at Wings. Probably wasn't a day go by I didn't see Trish where I got a Lexi story one way or the other. So they'll be missed. And Lexi, sorry for your loss. And a pretty tough weekend for those of us who knew Pete and Trish. So thinking about the family and the friends and the coworkers when things change very, very suddenly on Saturday morning. So that's all I've got on that one. Anyone else have anything to add? If not, we'll move on to our calendar of upcoming events. And our next city council meeting is Thursday, September 25th at 7 p.m. Do we have a motion to approve the calendar?
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Grendel, second from Councilmember Bergman. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Thank you. And do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion from Councilman Grendel, second from Councilmember Hebert. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We're adjourned.